Not just yet. For now, I was on my own. I chewed my lip, trying to imagine what my mother would say if I could talk to her. Pull up your socks, probably. That's her all-purpose advice for curing the droops, as she calls it, whenever I get moody or worried or sad. But how? My socks, unfortunately, were full of toads. I knew I had to do something. But what? I need a game plan, I thought, glancing around the toad-strewn attic. First things first, I decided. Time to get rid of the evidence. I crossed to the trunk and opened it. It was jammed with ancient camping equipment, Jurassic-era stuff that must have been my dad's back when he was a Boy Scout. Sifting through the moldering heap, I pulled out a decrepit duffel bag. It would have to do. I spotted a tattered butterfly net and pulled it out, then gave the air a tentative swipe. I had a sudden urge to laugh. Just call me Cat Starr, Toad Huntress. Toads aren't easy to catch, even in the best of circumstances. In a dimly lit attic when you're trying not to attract attention, it's nearly impossible. The little suckers spotted me coming a mile away. Every time I sneaked up on one and brought the net down, it would somehow manage to skitter out of reach. Finally, I got down on my hands and knees and waited, motionless, until one of them unwisely hopped into range. Gotcha, I said triumphantly, and scooped it up, along with number 31 as it sprang from my lips. I was getting better at this. 10 minutes later, I was breathless, crabby, and covered with dust. So much for getting better at this. I'd corralled exactly 3 toads in the duffel bag, in addition to my gotcha one. That left 27 more to go. I needed a new game plan. I went back to the trunk and rifled through it again. A length of frayed rope. Useless. A decaying tent and a bag of tent stakes. Nope. At the very bottom was a mildewed old tarp, though, which gave me an idea. I dragged it out into the middle of the floor and spread it out, then went to get something in the far corner that I'd glimpsed when I was up here the other day. A broom. It was missing half its straws, but it might just do the trick for the idea that was beginning to form in my head. It was time for a little street hockey, Toad Huntress style. I kicked off my slippers. This was a game that called for stealth mode. No point attracting any attention from downstairs. Eventually, my family would miss me and come looking, but I hoped to clear out the toads before they did. Holding the broom out in front of me like a hockey stick, I jogged around the attic counterclockwise, sweeping every amphibian I encountered toward the tarp in the center of the room. The toads fled in panic before me, croaking madly. So much for stealth mode. If I didn't wind this game up quickly, the entire neighborhood would be up here to see what was going on. Once I had a decent number of them cornered on the tarp, I leaned down and grabbed an edge, folding it over like a taco. A lumpy, toad-filled taco. Then I grabbed another edge and folded it in half again, picking it up and holding it tightly to keep its occupants from escaping. I carried the tarp to the waiting duffel bag. My method wasn't pretty, but it did the trick. Mostly. A few toads managed to hop out as I made the transfer, so I spread the tarp out again and made another pass around the room. This time I was pretty sure I'd gotten them all. I sat down next to the duffel bag, panting. Toad Huntress was not a job I'd wanted on a regular basis. After I caught my breath, I unzipped the duffel gingerly and counted the wriggling bodies. 30. I was 1 toad short. A flicker of movement in the far corner alerted me to the lone straggler, which was busy wedging itself under the eaves behind some insulation. I decided to leave it for now and move on. A duffel bag stuffed with 30 panicked toads is not exactly invisible. Or inaudible. No way was I going to be able to get it downstairs without being seen or heard. Recalling the length of rope I'd seen in the trunk, I crossed the room and grabbed it, then headed for the window above Jeffrey's room, which overlooked the backyard. I unlocked it and tried to ease it open. It didn't budge. I pushed harder. No luck. No matter how much I wrestled and tugged, the window was completely stuck. Finally, after one last all-out effort, it lurched upward. But the accompanying screech of wood on wood froze me in my tracks.